Hi, hello, this is Laylee and welcome to video 2. Today we are going to talk about Like a Dragon Ishin. I keep wanting to call it Yakuza because to me that's my brain raises it as, but no, Like a Dragon Ishin. So if you don't know what we do here, I guess you should back up a minute and basically if you were looking for a review of this game, that is not this. This is just going to be my overview of the game and just my opinions on it while I make a doodle. So if that is something you're interested in, go ahead and stick around. If not, I am sure that you will find a wonderful review somewhere out there on YouTube. They'll do a much better job than I could ever do. And this is just for my opinions in this doodle. And hopefully this doodle is better than the last one. Actually, by the time I'm recording this, I am done with it, so I can spoil it for you. Yes, I think I did a much better job than I did with the Nayuta drawing, to be honest. It feels like I got my wheels back on the bike. I was able to figure it out. Alright, so this game is set in the 1860s Japan during the end of the Edo period, where Japan is thrown into turmoil after the arrival of Western individuals. They are trying to basically overthrow their emperor because the emperor has been canoodling with the Western folks and they don't like it, basically. That's the gist of the Edo period during the Shinsengumi. Anyway, you play as Ryoma, who is Kiryu in this game, and he is in cahoots with his adoptive father, which is the same guy from the Yakuza series. And they are trying to bring down the caste system, so there's no longer like based on your birth. If you are able to do the job, you should get the job. Basically, it's not based on your birth. It's basically getting rid of the caste system. And so his adoptive father gets assassinated, so he makes plans with his stepbrother because they're orphans, and it's not Nishiki. It's actually a villain from Yakuza 0. I cannot think of his name. I'll put a picture up here, but it's not Nishiki. I kind of was hoping it was. But it was this villain guy, and I hated him. Oh my gosh, I hated him. I hated all three of the big major villains in Yakuza 0, to be honest. So when I saw his stupid face, I was like, oh gosh, here we go. But actually, I was like, oh, well, maybe they're going to flip the tides, and maybe I'm actually going to really like him. So I guess we'll see where this goes. Spoiler alert, I don't like him still. So you play as our dear friend Ryoma, who is then framed for the murder of his adopted father, and so he has to go on the run. While he is on the run, he learns that the person who potentially murdered his father is possibly lying in with the warriors of the Shinsengumi. So then he joins the Shinsengumi while looking for the person who potentially murdered his father and looking into the person who potentially framed him for the murder of his father. During his time with the Shinsengumi, obviously it is a Like a Dragon game, so you will have the subquests, the chapters, etc., etc. If you've played those games, you know what I'm talking about. There is a lot of good side quests in this game, I would have to say. Normally with the Yakuza games, I would play my fill of the side quests and then I would actually just move on with the story, because by that point in time, I've already had enough. I really just want to see the story in its entirety and just be done, which I know sounds really rude, but you know, your girl works full time and I have a whole backlog waiting for me. I love the Yakuza games, don't get me wrong. Absolutely love them, but sometimes they have way too many side quests, way too many mini games. You definitely get your money's worth if that is the game that you bought. But anyway, I digress. So, with this game though, I thought the amount of side quests were really doable just to get your feel and enjoy the game as a whole. I did them all, people. I did them all, let me tell you. There was one in particular that really stood out to me, and normally I'm not a big fan of like sexual innuendos. I don't really care for fan service. I just doesn't do it for me. I know some people get a cackle out of it, they squeal, and some people really enjoy it, obviously, hence why it's in a lot of anime and or video games. Not my thing, not my cup of tea. But this gal in this side quest, she asks for all these vegetables from Ryoma / Kiryu, and at this point in the game, you have a farm, which I'll come back to that. Put a pin in that. And she's asking for all these vegetables, and they're all a certain shape, I might say, that men have. Anyway, so she's asking for the vegetables, and you're like, gosh, lady, this is... okay, I see where this is going. I get the joke now. And by the end of her quest line, you realize that she was only using these vegetables, and she does it in a very seductive way when she asks for them. Okay, like, there is no... it's pretty obvious that they were intended for sexual innuendos. And at the very end, you realize that not only was she getting these vegetables for not that purpose, it was literally to make a stew for her husband who was coming home from war. Legitimately hilarious. The way that it ended, great. Just fantastic. Fantastic. So if you're going to play any of the side quests, that's the lady. I forget what street she's on. But you'll know. You'll know. Trust me, you'll know. And then as for like the mini game section for this game, as per usual, it's a Yakuza game. There's a lot of stuff to do. What I really liked is I like that you can play as the, gosh, what do you call it? Where they're the restaurant owner and you run the stall for them. That was really fun. Got really like intense towards the end, like the higher levels of it. Stressed me out a little bit, to be honest, but it was so much fun. It kind of reminded me of my Diner Dash days, which sounds kind of silly, but if you know, you know. And at one point there is a subquest with Haruka, who is the little girl from the Yakuza series, but she is the same girl in this, obviously. Looks just like her. Her name's Haruka. Her parents had passed away, and they left this farm to her, and she is in a mountain of debt, but she wants to keep the farm. So the priest wrangles you, Ryoma/Kiryu, into helping her keep her farm by paying the debt on her behalf, and you get to live there for free, which is great. And I am a sucker for like any money management type thing. So I don't know if you remember Yakuza 0 where you're the real estate agent. Same kind of deal where I'm like, okay, sign me up. I will get this girl out of debt. I will run this farm to its full potential. And not only do you get to run a farm and plant a bunch of vegetables, kind of Harvest Moon style. I mean, it's not quite as detailed though, I'm gonna be honest, but it's still fun. Don't get me wrong, it's still fun. You get to then find pets throughout the game, and then those pets will then join you at the farm. Weird? Maybe. Is it great? Yes. Absolutely loved it. Some of my favorite scenes of this game. There's almost too many, but I'll give you my top 3. First one is when you meet, and I cannot remember his name in this game. I'm really sorry, but it's the golden dragon guy from Yakuza 2 with the scar. I cannot remember his name. I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, he meets you in the bathhouse. He's been searching for you. You're stark naked, he's stark naked, and he wants to fight it out in the bathhouse. So you have this little cloud of steam covering your bits, and you guys are fighting it out. It's hilarious. Hilarious. Like I said, I'm not really big into sexual innuendos or even like pervy bits, but this is, I don't know, this game does it in just such a funny, tasteful way that it's so funny. Another good scene is the one where the guy from the second game, blonde guy, cannot remember his name, I'm so sorry, fake fan, Akiyama, I forget what his name is in this game, but Akiyama and then Kiryu/Ryoma are all together. Akiyama, blonde-haired guy, do not get along. They are different, they're like, not warring, but they're different people on different missions, so they don't like each other. And so they're fighting, but Kiryu/Ryoma gets plastered, super drunk, because he's having a bad day, and then starts brawling with these two. And then they all get together, and then they start fighting other people, and then they fight these guys who are hurting a Shiba Inu. And so then all 3 of them get hammered with the Shiba Inu, and it's just a funny scene. So funny. And then they kind of get along, and then they, they're like, don't like each other. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just comedy gold to me, to this peasant over here. It's comedy gold. And then the last scene that was also my favorite was at the end of the game where you have the captain of the Shinsengumi. I can't remember his name either off the top of my head. I know, I'm a fake fan. Toshi, I want to say something, Toshi. Either way. This guy, Ryoma, the members of the Shinsengumi basically come together to beat the bad guy, and it is such a cool scene. I am a sucker for like good bromance, and it's just awesome. Fantastic scene. However, what I would have liked to see though is his swordsman that keeps trying to kill Ryoma is actually Nishiki. So if you've ever played Yakuza 0 or Kiwami, Nishiki is Kiryu's adoptive brother in those games. And to be honest, like, I played 0 first before I played 1, and I felt like there was a lot more build up to Nishiki and Kiryu than there was in 1. So when I played 0, it was a lot more heartfelt for me to go and play Kiwami 1 right after that, because I got more Nishiki content basically, so I felt for him a little bit more than I would have if I just played Yakuza 1 to begin with. More Nishiki scenes would have been appreciated. I think they would have done better to make him also a bigger person in the story, but that's fine. That's neither here nor there. And then for me also, I really like Hijikata, which is the captain of the Shinsengumi. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't recognize this person's face. I was like, I know you, but I don't know your name. Like, I know you, but I do not know your name, and I cannot remember what game you were in. It took me the longest time to figure out he was actually an evil villain in Yakuza 2, I believe. Or 3. Let me look it up. I can't remember which one, but one of those two. And I was like, oh, I totally forgot. I think he was part of Nishiki's family, is what it was, and he was trying to get revenge on Kiryu in that game. Anyway, I honestly forgot all about him. He obviously didn't make a good impression to me to begin with when I played those games back then. So I remembered his face, I just couldn't remember who he was or what he did, which I guess maybe helped in the fact that I actually really liked him in this game. I don't know, he was one of my favorite characters. I really liked his stoic personality, and I liked the way that he dealt with like the rest of the Shinsengumi members. Although I would have liked to see Dojima as a member of the Shinsengumi, just because I really like him and Kiryu's friendship. To me, he's always like a pseudo father figure to Dojima Kiryu was, so I thought that was always very cute. So I'm a little disappointed he wasn't in this game, to be honest with you. So I keep forgetting that he's not in this game. So there's that. But anyway, so overall, I really liked the story of this one. I really enjoy like the Edo period of Japan. I think that's fascinating, as in real life as well as history. So I thought that was great. There's very much a Yakuza like twist to it. There's a lot of these like turns and stuff that's like, oh my gosh, he betrayed you, yada yada yada. Very Yakuza style, and I really enjoy that. So overall, I would say this is a great game. If you have any love for Yakuza, definitely give it a try. It's fantastic. I did all the subquests. I did all the mini stuff. I just didn't 100% the game, but, you know, I got pretty darn close. And then, oh, one more thing. I did really enjoy the fact that Ryoma gets his lady in the end. And all through Yakuza 1 through 6, not once did Kiryu end up with a gal. Not once. But Ryoma did. This one, at the very end of the game, he walks off to the sunset with his lady friend, and I am thrilled. About frickin' time the man gets a lady. Although, I'm gonna be honest, I still pine for him and the cop gal from the second one. I really, gosh, I can't think of her name, like Kaoru or something? I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but I really wanted them together. I was really hoping at some point towards like the end of the series that they would make her reappear again, but they don't. So, that stinks. But overall, this game was actually really good. I have no complaints about it. It's one of my favorite Yakuza, even though it's like a spin-off. I thought it was really good. Although, if I ever did a rating on those games, it would be really tough to put them in order. I really like all the Yakuza games. Like, not one of them is a stinker for me. I thought that they've all been great, so. So with this drawing, I just kind of wanted a drawing with my cute favorite guys in it. I don't think it turned out the best. I realize now doing the overview, I struggled a lot with their sandals, the historical sandals with all the ties. I just couldn't get it right, so I just kind of did like a low effort deal, which I know is not great when you're doing these kind of things, but I kind of wanted to finish the picture at this point, and I didn't think they looked too bad. Hopefully, obviously, I get better. I'm still struggling with my line art being, it just kind of looks like messy, and that really bothers me, but there's not really much I can do about it. I think it's me. I've changed the settings a couple of times, and I just think it's me. I'm just putting either too much pressure in certain parts, my line art is too thick, and I get a little, like, I don't know, whippy with it. Like, I don't know. At some points it looks okay, and some points it doesn't, so. Obviously, this is only number 2, so I'm hoping to get better in the future. Try my best to make the Ishin closer to like the title on the video game cover, which I think I did a pretty okay job at that. So I don't hate it. I wish I could have made them a little bit cuter, but it's not bad. It's not bad for number 2. So I guess that is where I'm going to end the video today. Hopefully the next one is going to be much better, but we'll see. I guess this is not bad for number 2, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.